All right, so it is now time for my favorite segment of every single week. We like to sit down and have a beer with someone most commonly in the beer industry, and this is our segment we call Beer With. Now, since Mama Calls Me Kevin and I are in the studio right now, we are going to be foregoing the alcoholic beverages, but our guest might have one. We'll find out here in just a few minutes. Again, just like last week, we are attempting to bring this interview in via Skype. And all hands on deck, fingers crossed, knock on wood, this actually works. I'd like to introduce, without further ado, our guest, Kent Oglesby from Born and Raised Productions. Kent, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. What's going on, fellas?
Can't hear you. Can we hear? Wait, hold on. Kent, go ahead.
Am I there?
Yes!
Hey! Technology works. Go Skype, go Ecamm, go radio.
Kent, welcome to Knox on Tap Radio. We really appreciate your time and for hanging out with us.
Of course, boys, the tables have turned. You're not partaking right now. Every time you've ever interviewed me or the other way around, you've had a beer and I have not. And now we finally get to oh wait, I'm sorry. You both got
So what are you enjoying, Kent?
I am enjoying a Highland Slow Crush because we came away from some events that we did in the fall with cases and cases. This is probably the 150th or so Slow Crush that I've drinking since September.
I love that. So you say we, and I know we means Born and Raised Productions, but for those who are listening, who and what is Born and Raised Productions? Oh, this is fun. Looks like okay, go ahead. It looks like we froze for a minute. I think the FBI was interrupting this Skype call. So.
Oh man, am I back?
You're back.
I could hear you going through this, or you were a guest on somebody else's podcast earlier. I could hear you going through this with our office internet. It just decides to check out once every hour or so. So Born and Raised Production is me and Garrett Thompson. It's a local music production company, or it was 3 months ago. Now we're doing all kinds of other things, whatever we can think of to do. Not a lot of music to be promoted right now. Thanks, man.
So that actually leads into my first question. Every week on our show, we do a segment called The State of the Brewnion, where we talk about kind of what's going on in the craft beer community. What is the state of, and I guess it may seem obvious, but it's nice to hear from you and from an expert, what is the state of local music and live music events in Knoxville, Tennessee right now?
Yeah, well, I mean, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. It's pretty much what you would expect. It's not good. It's not good at all. I've heard some music industry podcast people talking about this is actually a positive. You can use this time to do all this and all that, and it's like, no, I mean, it's not. It's not good. It's pretty bad. It's really bad, actually. There are no live music events to be happening. We saw a spike with streams, with live streams at the beginning. I think viewership of those have kind of gone down as the novelty of it has kind of wore off. It's just bad. There's really no way to sugarcoat it, man. So if anything pops up that you see that can give you some value, that is going to support some local musicians or any independent musician for that matter, and it seems worthwhile, if you're on the fence, let me just encourage you to go ahead and just do it.
What do you think right now is the best way for someone to support their favorite local musician?
Buying merch if they have it, and going back to the method of our forefathers of paying for music. Especially if it's a local band that you love, if you know them personally, or even if you don't. A lot of bands have band camps where you can get digital downloads, and most people, I feel like nowadays, use Spotify, and even if you have a digital download, you still probably would stream it otherwise. But even if that's a thing, just kind of send some love. I personally like the merch route. I love collecting local band T-shirts and kind of making that my right. And even if they don't have T-shirts, stickers, any kind of thing that you can think of from your favorite band that you can purchase. anything where money is going from your account to their account essentially is
Which, I mean, it's a
thing to
little
do
bit
right
basic, but that's really what's necessary right now.
now. I mean, it's the bottom line. It's just the reality of the situation. And I mean, some people are still doing like Facebook Live things with a link to donate, kind of like a tip jar kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or digital tip jar. And if you're able to do that, that's great. But also, I mean, it's hard for everybody, you know, like a lot of people have lost jobs, a lot of people filing for unemployment right now, and, you know, don't feel guilted certainly into donating to causes like that. But if you're able to, like if you're lucky enough to still have a decent paying job, like sometimes it's as simple as, just jumping in there with a little tip.
So that's a great way, or at least the best way right now, it seems, to support local musicians. My question is, and we're going to talk about the Celebration Bus next, so don't include this in your answer.
Okay.
But what are some ways right now that people can support, you know, Born and Raised Productions or other people in your industry who have relied on face-to-face interaction to create events for people?
I honestly am at a loss for what to do for music promoters specifically, other than like, you know, go on and follow them on Instagram, like them on Facebook, join their email list, YouTube channel, whatever they've got. For Born and Raised specifically, we just launched something this week called Beer Me That Vinyl, which I'm really, really excited about. We're partnering with local bands and local breweries and pairing one vinyl record with either one or two local beers from a local brewery. We just launched the first one this week. It's Sirius Bright is the band. Their record Excuses that came out in 2016 is their first full-length album. We're pairing those with a 4-pack of Elst beer. It's their double IPA and their one of their stouts. It's their I think it's the vanilla stout. And super excited about it. That's going to be a great way to support Born and Raised Productions. It's really all we have right now. Here it is, man. Yeah, exactly. And you know, this whole thing is an idea that we had like 6 months ago. And at the time we were like, we have all these shows to promote. We're taking on more and more festivals throughout the year and other events. We're like, when are we ever going to have time to do something like this?
Yeah, Kent, also tell us about your YouTube channel and your podcast that you've launched in the last couple weeks as well.
Yeah, Kevin, man, that's I really appreciate you saying that. That's awesome. YouTube channel, Born and Raised Productions. I had a lot of backlogged video content that I've just been sitting on until I had time to mix and master the audio and then edit the video. I'm starting to put all that out right now. So that's going to be there. And we also launched the Born and Raised Music podcast a couple weeks ago. That was another thing that we were planning on doing down a little bit down the road. But when all this stuff came out, we're like, well, we don't have anything else to do. Let's go ahead and launch this podcast right now. We interview a lot of musicians and other industry professionals on kind of the behind the scenes of being a touring musician, as well as like other industry roles like management and booking agents. And we also interview some entrepreneurs. We've interviewed Zach a couple of times.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. We actually we completely ripped off his idea for this show and called it Beer with Zach on our own podcast. And that was honestly one of the most fun episodes that we did. That was a two-parter. Yeah, we're going to have him back soon, I'm sure.
Oslo said he listened. Oslo's a mutual friend of Kent and I's. He said he listened to that podcast, and he was like, I wasn't sure whose podcast I was listening to.
Right, yeah, we kind of let you interview us a little bit, which I think was a pretty fun place.
Okay, so you've got the podcast, you've got the YouTube channel. You all are rolling out this new thing called Beer Me That Vinyl. What is the best way for people to get involved specifically with Beer Me That Vinyl? And part of the reason we wanted to talk about it on the show tonight is because Knox on Tap is local beer's best friend, but WTK, we like to say, is local music's best friend. So any way we can tie those two together. So tell us how people specifically can learn more about Beer Me That Vinyl.
You can go to either bornandraisedknox.com and find the link, or you can go just directly to beermethatvinyl.com and it will direct you straight to it.
That's awesome. Okay, so less than 2 hours from right now, you and I, Kent, were in somebody's front yard reenacting the end of the Tennessee-Florida football game, the 1998 National Championship game, as we were helping someone to celebrate their 36th birthday with this crazy idea that we came up with called the Celebration Bus, which is another way that you can not only support Knox Brew Tours, but also to support Born and Raised Productions. Tell us, what is the Celebration Bus?
Well, first of all, Zach, there's no we about it. Take credit for your own idea, man. This was all Zach Roskop. This was from the brain of Zach. And it's oh my God, it's been so much fun. The one we did a couple hours ago was, I mean, when we were leaving, Garrett mentioned it, and I was like, you're exactly right. He said, I think you had a lot more fun reenacting the 98 Florida game than anybody else there, including the birthday boy. So yeah, Celebration Bus, it's a way that people can kind of bring some joy straight to their front lawn by they call us up, either you, Zach, or me, and say, I've got so-and-so celebrating a birthday or a graduation or something, and we want to make it special, and we load a bunch of crap up in the Brew Tours bus, whether it be costumes or props or balloons or whatever we got, and then we head out there, and the three of us jump out of the bus and are complete goofballs for about 15 minutes, and we all have the most fun time ever.
So today we actually did two of them. One was for a 10-year-old, 15-year-old joint birthday where you get the MVP for that one because you danced in a full head-to-toe panda suit for a solid 20 minutes.
I will take that compliment. I sweated a lot. Like a lot.
Which included the Cupid Shuffle and many other songs of their choice, and a birthday sing-along as well. And then this evening we not only did the Tennessee football recreation, but we pretended or attempted to perform as Rush.
I gotta give a shout out to Garrett on that one because he was tasked with pretending to be Neil Peart on the tiniest toy drum set, just like a little tiny 3-piece.
While sitting on the tiniest stool. I mean
that stool couldn't have been more than 8 inches off the ground.
It was like max 4 to 8 inches off the ground. Yeah. So that was really fun. And this is something that, maybe it's a graduation, maybe it's an anniversary, maybe your husband just took a shower for the first time in a week.
We've already done that one.
Maybe the co-host of your radio show is turning 46.
Oh,
40s. All right. Well, Kent, before we sign off here from our Beer With segment, do you have any final thoughts or feelings for anyone listening on how to continue to support the local the local music scene, and then also how we can connect with you, Born and Raised Productions, on social media?
Yeah, I mean, getting through this time right now, I don't know what all other ways that there are to support local artists outside of just like buy whatever it is that they might be selling. But I will say when things start to come back to normal, I think smaller shows are probably going to happen before bigger theater and club shows start coming back. So that might be a perfect opportunity if you're itching to see some live music to get out and see some local bands and maybe some of the smaller venues first. Other than that, for Born and Raised, just head to our website and check out everything we got going on. We're really focusing right now on getting people to subscribe to the Born and Raised Music Podcast. And if you happen to be on the Apple Podcast app, if you wouldn't mind just, I'll shamelessly ask for it. Go in and drop a 5-star review on there because that can help game the algorithm and get more people listening to it, which is really the only other than Beer Me That Vinyl and Celebration Bus, the only thing we have to work on right now. So.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you again so much for hanging out with us. Thank you for caring and loving local music as much as we care and love about local beer. Music and beer truly go together, and I love that we finally found something to collaborate on that makes a lot of sense for both of us, and it's been a lot of fun. The Celebration Bus is honestly one of the things I hope we continues long after this is over. So, yeah, we really appreciate it.
Same goes to you. I've seen more Zach Roscop today than I think I ever have in one day before, and I've been really enjoying it.
There was a costume change in that last Celebration Bus, so Kent has literally seen more of me than he's ever seen before. All right. So, Kent, normally what we do is we end the interview, and then we introduce the interviewee's song of choice. But since you are a professional DJ and know what you're doing, I'm going to give you the opportunity to segue us into the next song of the week, requested by our guest, you, Kent Oglesby.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is with my great pleasure that I get to introduce to you all American Dream by Sirius Bright.
Thanks, Kent. Cheers.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.